Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining Learn United, Strengthening Family Resources with Tax Time, designed to highlight a variety of voices and relevant topics in our community. Today, we will discuss the importance of United Way's Tax Time program. My name is Hannah Bonacci, and I am the Tax Time Program Manager at United Way. Today, I'll be sharing a brief overview of what Tax Time is and facilitating a conversation with our panelists about the program and their experience as volunteers. I'm excited to get started and for the opportunity to show the significant impact that Tax Time has had on the community since its launch in 2007. If you have any questions throughout the session, please drop them in the chat and we'll have someone responding to you, or we'll be able to answer them at the end after we hear from our panelists. We made sure to leave time for Q&A. As mentioned, I wanted to provide a background on Tax Time before we dive into our conversation with our panelists today. So I'm going to share a few slides now. One second as I get this set up. All right. Can my panelists give me a thumbs up if you can see my, okay, awesome. So this will just be a brief overview of what Tax Time is to give you some context before we go into our conversation. And so just to start, I want to talk a little bit about what is VITA, the Volunteer Income Tax Assistance Program. And it's a free tax preparation program through the IRS. So this is offered to organizations all across the country to set up the opportunity to provide free tax preparation services. And so United Way has the Tax Time program, and our target audience and the IRS's target audience for this program is low and moderate income taxpayers. The current threshold is $58,000 annually or less. We target limited English proficiency taxpayers and taxpayers with a disability. And all of the volunteers who work in these VITA programs are IRS certified, and that's to ensure that we are providing the highest quality services when it comes to preparing returns for clients through this program. And so why free tax preparation? Prior to the pandemic, there were over 400,000 people in Franklin County that couldn't meet their basic needs. This is most likely an outdated statistic and even more heightened since COVID has impacted our communities. And through our programs, we're able to provide tax credits to our clients, and those help bridge the gap between what working families earn and what they need to survive. So some of the big credits we really highlight and try and connect our clients that qualify to are the Earned Income Tax Credit and the Child Tax Credit. And those have become even more important since COVID because there have been different laws in place or regulations to help increase access to those credits and also to potentially increase the amount that a client might receive in returns for those credits. And another thing that's been very important since COVID has been the economic impact payments. And those we've been able to help clients claim when we prepare their returns. And a lot of individuals might not know when they come to our programs that they qualify for any of these credits or the stimulus checks, and we're able to help funnel hundreds of dollars or potentially a couple thousand in refunds that a client didn't even know that they qualified for. And that can become an electric bill for your family or groceries for the month. So that's why we do it. And the last really major big point as to why these programs are so important is because we're able to save every client about $250 in tax preparation fees. And again, that could be groceries for a couple weeks for an individual. And then a little bit about who our Tax Time program is. So United Way operates the Tax Time program, but it is through our partners that make up the larger Tax Time coalition that we call it, that really make our work possible. So we have partners from all across Franklin County and even other counties who are considered subawardee partners of our program. And our lead partners are AARP, who also prepare taxes, LSS 211 Central Ohio, they handle all of the scheduling for our clients for appointments. And then the Legal Aid Society of Columbus is a great source. They operate a low-income tax clinic, and we're able to refer our clients to them when appropriate. But we have partners from all over the place. We are so grateful for everybody who contributes to volunteer hours, to preparing taxes, to donations that make our program operations possible. And you can see all of those highlighted here. And then just to show you a brief glimpse of what our impact looked like just for this past season, we had over 100 volunteers just at our local tax time sites. We offered both virtual and in-person services at over 17 sites. And we were able to extend our reach through our subordinate partners through Pickaway County Community Foundation, Bridges Community Action Partnership, United Way of Fairfield County, and Licking County Coalition for Housing. And then some of our big results that we're really excited to share collectively through the coalition, we were able to serve over 10,800 clients. We were able to deliver in total refunds over $9.6 million in refunds. And when you look at the breakdown of those specific credit refunds I talked about, in the EITC, over $800,000, for the child tax credit, almost $900,000 in refunds just at our tax time sites in Franklin County. And then the economic impact payment at our sites across Franklin County, over $340,000. And when you look at hours put in by our amazing volunteers, we had over 4,700 volunteer hours put in, and we were able to save over $2.1 million in tax preparation fees for our clients this past season. And then looking at just since we've started, we've served over 163,000 clients. We've delivered in total refunds over $176 million. And we've been able to save in preparation fees that about 200 or 250 is the new number per client, over $33 million in preparation fees. So that's just a basic overview for you. So I'm going to stop sharing now. If I can hit that button. There we go. And now we are going to go ahead and transition into our panelist portion. So now that you have a better idea of the tax time program, I'm excited to introduce you to our panelists who have joined us today. And so today we have Brian Parks, who is a longtime tax time volunteer and site coordinator for the Tax Time Vitus sites. We also have Megan Sullivan, and she is an attorney of the tax team and the Low Income Taxpayer Clinic at the Legal Aid Society of Columbus. As mentioned, they're one of our lead partners. And lastly, we have Ed Miner, and Ed is from Nationwide Children's Hospital, who is the Tax Time Clinic Director, Healthy Neighborhoods, Healthy Families Project Manager, and NCH is also a major partner of our Tax Time Coalition. So to get started today, can each of you tell us a little bit about yourselves? What's your name? What roles do you play in the Columbus community? And whoever wants to start, go ahead.
Hannah, Brian Parks. I can go ahead and start. So my name is Brian Parks. I'm actually in the private sector here in Columbus. I work for a federal contractor doing IT work for a federal government customer. I'm also a licensed real estate agent. It's kind of a new thing for me, so just getting into that. But mostly just private sector. I was recruited to become a tax time volunteer through a prior employer. I was with a leadership group there, and United Way came and said, "Hey, we're looking for volunteers for prepare income taxes." So that's how I got involved.
Awesome, thank you, Brian. Megan or Ed?
I'm Megan Sullivan. I'm the managing attorney of the tax team and the director of our low-income taxpayer clinic at the Legal Aid Society of Columbus, and I've worked there since 2004. I've been doing tax work in some capacity since then and have been directing the low-income taxpayer clinic for about 13 years.
And I'm Ed Miner. I am a project manager in the Healthy Neighborhoods, Healthy Families program at Nationwide Children's Hospital. My team works on social determinants of health programs. We know that an individual's health and well-being is accounted for in their clinical care at a rate of about 20%. And the other 80% of your health and well-being is in other factors like housing and education and economic well-being. And so the tax program is one of the ways that we address the financial piece in social determinants of health work. And so I manage our site. We had 6 sites last year. I manage those and then manage some other health and wellness programs in Columbus.
Great, thank you for that information. It looks like we kind of already talked about how you guys are connected with tax time. Feel free to add anything additional if you want to, but if not, the next question I've got for you guys is, So why taxes? I talked a little bit about why volunteer income tax assistance, also known as VITA, is an important program to the clients that we serve, but I'd love to hear your guys' opinions.
Well, from the hospital side, we want to contribute to the financial stability and well-being of our patient families and the children who are part of those families. We got involved in taxes for a couple different reasons. One, actually, there are things you've already mentioned, Hannah. Our commitment is, first of all, to providing equitable and affordable financial services to people when those services are required as part of your everyday life. And everybody needs to file taxes, especially families who are eligible for credits. So we want to be able to provide access to that service free of charge. And we do the same thing you do. We kind of estimate how much we've saved people in fees. And we have lots of stories about people sort of leaving almost in tears of joy at the fact that they saved the fees that they had paid the previous year and got to take that money home. And some of those stories are as much as $500, $600, $700. $250 is really just an average, but the impact is even greater on some of the families we work with. And the other is we know from the research that we're doing together with you guys at the United Way that a lot of these credits are things people don't fully understand and aren't aware of the ways in which they're eligible to claim those. And so we want to help families claim all of the financial resources that are out there for them, because we know that those things help the well-being of the children in those families.
Great. Thank you for highlighting all those points, Ed. Brian, it looks like you have something to share.
So I've always kind of liked numbers and always did my own taxes. And so it was interesting to start doing that for other people and learning about, paid prepare. I've never used a paid preparer myself, but just knowing that $250 is in the door, and then if they've got a Schedule C, if they've got EIC, the paid preparers just tack on fee after fee after fee, and it's great for us to keep that money in our clients' pockets. Especially over the last couple of years, we'd have clients come in who needed 2, 3, sometimes 4 years of back taxes done, and we're able to help clients with that and get them right with the IRS. And even if we have clients who come in and we find that they owe taxes, and we explain what their options are as far as payment methods and making sure that we file on time for them, but also say, hey, you don't have to pay all this right up front. You can set up a payment plan, and that does help clients their state of being, as far as it's not this big nasty organization that that they have this insurmountable debt that they have to work with, that they can pay the IRS a little bit at a time, and as long as they're making their payments and whatnot, then they can keep living their life without fear. So sometimes it's just that that soothing voice, I guess, that says, hey, you're going to be okay. And people who get big refunds, it's great to help them too. Put a smile on their face and say, hey, you're getting $3,000-$4,000 back in taxes that you might not have realized that you're getting back.
Yeah, that's a great point to share. I think we focus a lot on the excitement of providing refunds, but I love that you highlighted also how we can ease anxiety around if we owe money or if a client owes money, what are the steps we take to help them solve that in the best way.
The other thing Brian pointed out that I love too, when we talk about saving people money on fees, is the fees that get tacked on when you bring in a 1099. And we're seeing, even just in the 3 years I've been doing this, we're seeing more and more 1099s as people do Uber and Lyft, and we're seeing them just get killed by those extra fees. It's an extra $100 if you have a 1099 and need a Schedule C. So I appreciate Brian pointing that out too, because that's just going to be a huge sort of additional plus going forward.
The other big thing that tax time does is it leads taxpayers away from predatory taxpayers who might steal refunds or create returns that aren't exactly correct, and it steers people away from tax products like refund anticipation loans that take like hundreds or thousands of dollars out of the hands of taxpayers who really need it. Yeah.
Yeah.
What we see is that, the earned income tax credit and the child tax credit can sometimes be up to a third of the yearly income for some of the clients that we see. And so, it is a really major part of meeting everyday necessary expenses. It pays utilities, it pays back rent. Landlords are working with people to they know that the refund's coming so that they'll, slide a little bit. So it's really helpful for people's everyday existence. The other thing that we see is that the tax returns are done right, and so people don't have problems. And so, we see people who've tried to prepare their own returns and maybe didn't understand them because it's all very confusing. There's so many rules and they're all conflicting. But when they go to a free tax site, they've got trained preparers who aren't creating problems for them. So that's from the representation side, because we see people after things go wrong, and it's not the free tax sites that we're seeing. So.
That's a great point as well, Megan. And that speaks to what I shared in, VITA programs. Every volunteer is required to go through this rigorous kind of certification process, and we're there every step of the way to help, make sure everybody can pass it and has the information. But our accuracy rates are nearly 100% because we have a process to not only make sure the individual doing the return knows what they're doing, but it's quality reviewed after by another preparer. And so if a mistake was made, it's caught at that point before we actually process the returns. Those are great points. So why should somebody become a volunteer then? We've heard a little bit about why this program is so impactful, the ways we can really get refunds or resources into the hands of our clients, better educate our communities. So why would you guys recommend that somebody become a volunteer?
I floated this question to Kathy Hoover, who's a staff attorney on our program, but also a site coordinator at Tax Time and a long-term volunteer. And she says, beyond the good work that they do for the taxpayer, she says it feels good to help, and the clients are always super grateful for the help that's provided, and that you really did something concrete for somebody.
I would definitely echo that. And it's a few hours out of a Saturday, and we're helping, on an average, shift, for lack of a better word, I'm helping 3 families, just myself. And then if we've got 3 more volunteers, that's 12 families we're helping in 3 hours. And as site coordinator, it's great to, work with multiple clients, multiple volunteers, and answering questions. And sometimes I have questions that other people answer for me. And, as Megan and Hannah referred to our accuracy rate, every return is double checked by another trained volunteer. So, and that's, as a site coordinator, if I do a review or I do a return, somebody else is double checking my work as well. That's almost the most important thing we do is to ensure accuracy, is everybody's double checking each other's work. So, but as far as, it is a good feeling to help other volunteers and our clients get more financially sound. There's a saying that it's expensive to be poor, and not all of our clients are low income. Some are moderate income that, but they're still living paycheck to paycheck, and it's good to help help everybody who, save a little money and get their taxes done correctly.
I think too, from our perspective, you're making a contribution to more than just a family's financial well-being. And all the research that's starting to come out now following up the expanded child tax credits is showing that people were spending that money on everyday expenses. And so when you're helping somebody with this, you're not just putting money in your pocket, you're relieving stress, you're improving things like parental depression rates, you're improving things like workforce participation. I mean, the multiplier effects of this program are more than just the feel good you get, and that's definitely there. But man, the impacts on a family's health and well-being, this program multiplies those in ways that most other programs don't. And I would just, if you're thinking about volunteering in this, I would really urge you to consider it. This is not everybody's wheelhouse. And so, one of the struggles that Hannah and I have talked about is recruiting volunteers to be in this program. The training is rigorous. It takes a little bit of time. And so if you're thinking about doing this and you're inclined to maybe give this a shot, I would urge you to do it for a year and just see how it goes. The investment of time is definitely worth it. And the other thing that's happened for me as somebody I've done, I think I've done 1,000 taxes in the last 3 years now. Like, I know you build knowledge, and you actually improve your ability to be part of that preparation and review team. You improve your ability to be able to help your clients, and you get to be a whole participant in that near 100% accuracy rate as you build your experience and knowledge. And it's a real thing. I mean, you really do get to know things to the point where, gosh, I'm correcting people at Thanksgiving dinner all the time when they say something about taxes or tax credits or whatever. So I would just say, I would encourage people to do it because of the multiplier effect, and also just the accumulation of knowledge that you start to build. You really do become a tax expert for the type of returns that we do. And that's a huge contribution to your community.
And I loved a lot of your points. And I really appreciate that you spoke to overall well-being and how our program promotes not just financial wellness, but how that trickles into a family or an individual's overall well-being. I think that's a huge asset of the program and the refunds that we're able to provide to our clients and how that impacts them. Megan, were you going to share something? Go ahead.
I was just going to reiterate the valuable information, and like your ability to disseminate that back out into the community will help everyone overall. Also, the time commitment can just be for a few months of the year, so it's definitely worth a try.
That makes me think, and I'm sure some people might be thinking this as well who are watching today, is would you guys be willing to talk more about what does the season look like for a volunteer as we talk more about this opportunity?
I can talk about that. So generally we start end of January, early February. It's typically each site is open one evening during the week or one weekend day, 3 to 4 hours. We ask for the commitment each week. Obviously, people aren't going to be available every single Saturday or every single Monday night, and it's not a big deal if you have to take 2 or 3 weeks off during the tax season. If you've got something else going on, just let your site coordinator know, and we can get volunteers from other sites or just turn down our appointments for that day. You're not committing to every single Saturday morning or every single Monday night throughout the tax season. We'd love to have you, but we realize that everybody's got lives outside of preparing taxes. We wrap up usually around tax day. I think there's 1 or 2 sites that close a little earlier. But for what we did at Grove City Library this year, we started, I think, mid-February, and then we were open the last weekend that we could do taxes. We were open that day. So we had, people coming in late filers, but they were still on time, but they were pushing the deadline, but we got them all taken care of. So yeah, I just wanted to reiterate that you're not committing to every single week. Obviously, you can schedule days and whatnot, and you can work multiple sites as well if your schedule is flexible.
I think that was a pretty good overview, unless either Ed or Megan wanted to add anything else.
Just that.
I think another thing.
Just when you have time, there's places for you to work. I mean, we have sites open almost all weekdays during the workday, and there's sites open on Saturdays. And if you're thinking about doing this, don't let if you think you have a weird work schedule, there's somewhere for you to work. There's somewhere that you can pitch in and be of service to the community, because there's all different kinds of sites with lots of different hours and different opportunities to experience this work.
Absolutely. I think also since COVID, we've operated virtually as well. So, and we plan to continue offering hybrid services where we either have in-person locations or virtual. So if you're somebody out there who doesn't necessarily want to be going to a site, you may be able to volunteer with us in our virtual platform. And we obviously prepare you, show you everything about that, so that you can just get on from your home on a Saturday morning. We have a shared Zoom room where volunteers can get on and chat with each other while they're preparing people's returns. And so we really try and be flexible and cater to the needs of our volunteers, because you're giving your time and your expertise to really help the community of clients that we serve. And most of the time, volunteers, for the most part, you'll be at the sites you're with, whether it's virtual or in person, but at times there is opportunity for crossover. We might have special events, or you might have a reason to collaborate with another partner in the coalition. And so Brian or Ed, have you guys ever had a reason or an opportunity to refer someone to Megan with legal aid?
Oh yeah. I've been on the phone to Megan, like, Megan, help, this person needs your help. No, and it's, yeah, we've referred lots of people to Megan, especially people who have, we can help them, 3 years back, but we have people come in that have older taxes or have other kinds of issues. And it's, Megan is great because I can refer somebody to her with the full confidence that, first of all, she'll know what to do. And second of all, that the clients will be treated with respect and dignity. And, part of the reason we're involved in this at the hospital is because a lot of these kinds of services in the community don't treat people with respect and dignity. And it's always good to know that when we send them to legal aid, they're going to get the help they need, and they're going to be treated well. So yes, we use Megan as often as we need to. And as far as I know, we don't always get follow-up, but as far as I know, a couple of people I've talked to that I've seen after the fact have said that she was very helpful. So
I'm happy to hear that. Yeah, we will, any client who's referred from a tax time site, as long as they're not a conflict in our system, we'll talk to them at least to give advice and hopefully and represent if they need that. And Brian's one of our star referral sources as well. And we love getting the cases from tax time because then we know that they're getting the wraparound service that they need.
Megan,
I could talk
you-
a little bit about what, like, the things that we help with, if that people are referring to us. We
Yeah.
help people generally who have collection issues, which means that they owe the IRS and they can't pay, and an installment agreement's not going to help. We can help stop IRS collection. And then if people have past years where they had problems where the IRS didn't give credits that they should have, or examined a return and didn't accept the proof from the client, we can help them go back and fix those old problems. And then if they get exam notices, for in the future, it's good for them to have our information too, so that we can help them from the very start of those problems.
Thanks for sharing that. Yeah, it's for our community here listening. Legal Aid Society of Columbus is a huge asset to our tax time coalition, and being able to know we have a trusted partner to refer our clients to really helps us deal with situations when we know, okay, this is kind of past our scope of service. Now we need to pass it on to somebody. And we know time after time, Megan and her team handle it with all the respect and care that they can give to each case. Another opportunity for crossover of sites as a volunteer that's going to be brought back this year is going to be Super Saturday. Some of you listening might know it happened in the past, and we are working hard to have it be a special event that's going to happen on February 25th this year. And so, Ed, I'm going to put you on the spot and ask, since Ed represents Nationwide Children's Hospital, they're going to be co-sponsoring this event with our tax time program at United Way this season. Ed, can you share a little bit more about Super Saturday and why NCH thinks it's a great investment to co-sponsor?
Well, first of all, because it hasn't happened for the last few years, we know there's been a need for a venue, and there's been a need to kind of, push to get it back open again. And we have we have some of the resources, and we have space to be able to do that. So We also, this grant that we're doing with you, it's part of our responsibility to expand the way we're involved in the programs. And so this is a great way for us to meet that mandate in the grant. So we're expanding our involvement by partnering with you on this. And that's really important for us as well. We also just, our clinics, we use sites a lot of times that are primary care centers. And so we're limited to the hours that those centers are open. So we do a lot of work on weekday during sort of normal business hours. And some of the feedback we've gotten is that the Children's needs to do things on Saturday evenings. So this is a way for us to be involved in a big effort to get people appointment times on Saturdays. So that's why we're involved. We also just, we just also saw an opportunity to share the resources we have here with the community through you guys. And we think it's a great space that you're going to be able to use. We have access to free parking. The space itself is really accessible. We have the opportunity to provide childcare and all those kinds of things. And so we just thought it made sense to jump in and partner with you guys. And we'll do our part and you do your part. And it will be a great event to bring back. And we look forward to serving the community this way.
Absolutely. We're very excited to bring Super Saturday back. And we're hoping to just, for those who don't know, we'll pack in a lot of volunteers from all different sites. It's a great opportunity if you're wanting to kind of get your feet wet with tax time, but you're not ready to commit to a full season. You can connect with us to volunteer at this special event and just do like a one-time opportunity that hopefully leads into more. And you could be, a greeter, you could be a guide and bring somebody to the room they're getting their return prepared in, or there's other opportunities we'll have for setup and takedown. So Super Saturday is going to be a really exciting, impactful event for the community and a great chance for anybody listening to come see what we're all about. But you might not be ready to commit to a whole season yet. So get excited. February 25th will be Super Saturday. You can contact us for more information about that. And let's see, what else do we want to talk about today? So another question, we've kind of talked about, if somebody's hesitant, why they might commit. I would love for you guys, as we talk more about the importance of volunteering, if anybody would be willing to share stories. Ed, I know you kind of touched on this at the beginning, that there's stories you can share about memorable moments. So if any of you would be willing to share like a memorable moment from the past season or at any point since you've started that really affirmed your commitment to your volunteering or your position with tax time and the impact it makes on clients.
Well, I'll share the one I've been sharing a lot this year. This is from this past season. We had a person come in and their partner, and one of the individuals had a tween child, and the partners together had a newborn. One of the partners with the tween child had been kind of off the grid and hadn't been filing taxes at all, but had been working and had a child. So if you're familiar with this, you already know where this is going. She hadn't gotten any of her tax credits. She hadn't gotten any stimulus payments for herself or her child. And because they had a newborn child, the expanded tax credit and the stimulus payments were just for that one child were like $5,000 for the one filing. So we helped them actually file a total of 4 tax returns. And with all of the old earned income credits, the stimulus payments, and the new child tax credit, that family, which had a total income in 2022 of around $35,000 or $40,000, left with refunds being claimed for those 4 years of $35,000. So they doubled their income by catching up on their taxes. And it was crazy because the one person with the tween child didn't even know what the earned income tax credit was. Didn't understand that even in previous years that there had been a part of the child tax credit that was refundable. So, there was that, like in all of her, her 2 old returns, there was $1,400 in child tax credits in each of those years. There was about $3,000 in earned income credit for each of those years. For the year before, there were stimulus payments that were, I don't remember what it was, like $1,700 or something. So the other beautiful thing about that is for us at Children's is that they were actually scheduled and brought in by one of the social workers from one of our children's primary care centers. And on the way out of the building, they were asking us for information about our housing program because they wanted to use their refund to be able to find some safe, affordable housing for their family. So that was a pretty cool day for us in our tax clinic.
Yeah, that sounds like those are some really impactful moments. Those were huge refunds you're able to give back as
It was
well.
crazy. It was crazy. I mean, we've seen big refunds, but that just like that total was just amazing. So yeah,
We need to get that one written down to share with everybody. Brian or Megan, do you guys have anything else you guys want to add in?
Specific situations, not really, but it's really the one thing I can think of is a lot of times we'll have a parent come in and they mention their teenage child might be with them and they may be working as well, but they don't have a filing requirement, or the parent thinks, oh, they don't need to file, and I apologize, they're working on the lawn in front of right behind me, so you might hear some noise. But we can file for somebody who's 17 and working, and generally they'll get a little bit back whatever they had withheld. So it's those situations where the more conversation you have with a client, learning about their family and is what's everybody's situation, we might end up filing 2 or 3 tax returns that they didn't come in and expecting to file and get them more money back.
Thanks for sharing that, Brian. Go ahead, Megan.
So in my case, so it's not like one individual client, but I'll have clients who our cases last for like a year or so. And so it'll span several filing seasons. And when they go to like tax time for the first time, they come back and they're like, I understood what was on my return, and like talk about like the good experience that they have. Like that's always really nice to hear, because people who were taken advantage of by taxpayers or tax preparers in the past, once they're able to get out with a trained preparer who actually tells them what's on the return, they just have a lot more like confidence in the tax system and in what they're doing as it relates to filing taxes.
Thank you for sharing that. So I think we're going to go into Q&A because we have quite a few questions in the chat, and I want to make sure we're able to get to some of them. So let's go ahead and just start going through them. So Ed, this one is for you to start. Why is it important for private sectors to get involved in this program?
For private sector, so like the hospital? I'm not sure I understand.
Yeah, I think, and it looks like Amy asked that on the chat. So if you want to clarify that, Amy. But yeah, I think, coming from Nationwide Children's Hospital, being a big catalyst in our program and continuing to invest in the ways that you guys.
So our involvement, our involvement is really, we have locations across the city, but we have, my department works in 2 primary neighborhoods. We work on the south side and we work in the Linden area. And, it's important for us as we try to, work with and support those neighborhoods, finding ways that we can contribute to the overall well-being of the people who live there. And this is just just as a simple way that we can contribute to, I like what Megan and Brian said about, you're demystifying a process that doesn't need to be a mystery. It's pretty simple and straightforward if you just take time to talk to people. This is also a program for us that helps us connect with people and introduce them to other things that we're doing. We do a lot of work in the housing arena. We do a lot of work in the employment arena, and we connect with a lot of people who are interested in learning more about those kinds of things. So it's also for us, it's a catalyst to introduce people to other kinds of work that we're doing in their neighborhoods. And it's also, we're working with United Way on a Office of Minority Health research grant. This program is also giving us the opportunity to study this program and to understand the ways that it impacts, and hopefully that study will help us also figure out ways to improve our relationships with the people in the community. But yeah, it's a need that our community's expressed interest in having us help meet, and we had the capacity to do it, so we did.
Thanks for sharing that. And you touched a little bit on Oh, go ahead.
But no, I hope that answers the question. If it didn't, please let me know.
Well, I'll share contact information at the end. So if anybody has pending questions, you'll be able to reach out to us. You touched a little bit on another question we have, how are tax time clients referred to other services? Any of you can feel free to chime in on that as well if you have some insight.
I can chime in on it. So sometimes we'll have situations where a client comes in and says they've got letters from the IRS, and we'll take a look at them, and it's not really something that we can help them with. So even if it's just a general question, we'll get them into the pipeline for Legal Aid Society. Sometimes it's a situation where, and these are the situations that kind of are not ideal, where it's unmarried parents, non-custodial parent claims the child, and the rightful parent is the one in front of us, and their taxes get rejected because the other parent, and sometimes we can get get those over to legal aid, but a lot of times it's a situation where we tell them that we have to wait for the IRS to figure it out, and those are the tough ones. But really, it's just situations where we're not able to help within the tax site, and we need some extra help, or they need to do negotiations with the IRS, or they have back taxes that were filed incorrectly that we're not able to amend, or it's somebody who comes in and has like 5 or 6 years of back taxes. We can do the most recent 4 returns in the site, but earlier than that, sometimes legal aid is able to help as well. So those are the primary cases we refer over to legal aid.
Right, and so sometimes the site coordinators email us contact information, and then we have our intake staff do a conflict check and then call the client. And then we also have a brief application on our website that's kind of just like a little bit shorter than a regular application specifically for our tax time sites that you can fill out at the site with a client for legal aid.
So yeah, for us, it's broader than that too. We want to make those kinds of referrals, but we're also, we also see tax time as an opportunity to help people connect with other services that can improve the lives of their families. And so I saw Val asked what other kinds of services. So we're trying to refer people to employment readiness classes. We're trying to refer people to educational programs. We have a kindergarten readiness program called Spark. We try to send people to that. We try to connect people with opportunities for housing. The staff that we have, the paid staff from the hospital that works in these clinics, they're social workers and connectors and neighborhood navigators and community health workers and people like that. So, we all see it as our job to try to connect people with pretty much any kind of thing that we can help them connect with and help them navigate. So yeah, we use this as a broad opportunity to connect people with other needs, services that meet other needs that they might have.
I would echo what Ed shared as well in terms of United Way's work with our tax time program. Sometimes, our volunteers are such an incredible community, and they're so dedicated and passionate that even if their job is focusing on a tax return, I often have volunteers reaching out, hey, this client spoke to me about this issue, or they need access to this service. Can you give me a community organization to refer them to, or do you know how I can help them, solve this issue? And when we can, if we don't have the answer right away, we will look it up, or we will talk to United Way. Has a bunch of partners across the community, and they focus on different wraparound services. And so we're constantly looking at who can we collaborate with if we don't have it internally, or with one of the tax time coalition partners, to make sure clients who come through our services are not only getting our services, but getting their other needs met if we can't meet them. Yeah, so that's something I appreciate about our team, because our volunteers are so dedicated to more than just their job, but truly the well-being of our clients. Another question, looks like we have just a couple more minutes to answer questions. An important one I saw in here that I think will be helpful for you guys to speak to is, what does the volunteer training process look like?
So typically there's a few volunteer training sessions in January. And there's some great training materials. I know Tim's going to be doing a lot of the training this year. And there's even some experienced volunteers will also help out at some of the training sessions if they're in person or even remote to answer questions. And we're really there to not, I guess, fail people out of training. We really want people to learn and understand and get the the training and pass the IRS tests to be able to prepare taxes. There is a test involved with it's the same test that every VITA preparer across the country takes and has to pass. And so there's a lot of training materials. There's a giant book on how to prepare taxes called the 4012 that that volunteers get, and we actually use it throughout the tax season as well, because I don't memorize the entire book, and there's always that weird situation where if it's this but not this is what you do. So sometimes we do have to reference that even throughout the tax season. So there's any multitude of resources available both during training and throughout the tax season.
And I would add, we recruit a lot of our volunteers from hospital staff. So they're people who are sort of, so to speak, in the office with me. So once people start down the road of preparing that test, we have little occasional like lunch meetings where people can ask questions. We really do try to help people through the test. Like Brian was saying, we're not really trying to weed people out, even though the test does that itself, I think, to some degree, but we really do try to encourage people and help them understand that this stuff is not, it's not that difficult to figure out, but it does take a little bit of support if you're not used to it and it's new to you. And I needed that the first time I did it. And so now I try to provide that same sort of like support and outreach to the new volunteers that we bring into our program.
And there's volunteer opportunities available as well for people who either they don't feel comfortable doing taxes yet. And if that's you, come be a greeter for a season. Tax sites, we love greeters because the last thing I want to do as a tax preparer or site coordinator is deal with paperwork and the intake sheet. So even greeters who can come in and help walk people through the intake sheet and answer general questions about tax preparation, that's a big help to us as well, because it's sometimes difficult to multitask while we're running a tax site as people are coming in and asking questions. So we still need greeters. There's a minor test for being a greeter, but it's real simple.
It's super easy. That's what I was going to say. Like if you do that, the test for that, I'll say, is super easy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you can consider that it's more of a quiz for the entry level volunteer spots than they are, a big test. And we say test and it can sound daunting for the tax preparers or quality reviewers or site coordinators, but it's just to make sure you have the information you need to be able to use the TaxPlayer software that we have and kind of know the language. But like we said, there's lots of materials. There's virtual and in-person training opportunities. There's self-paced training opportunities. So we really provide you everything you need every step of the way and are there to answer questions. So it's not as daunting as it can sound. I came into this position with very minimal tax related experience and hopped on in the middle of the tax season when I joined United Way and was able to complete my stuff within a couple weeks to a month, and have really seen how rewarding this work is. So that's pretty much the end of time we have for questions. Is there any final thoughts from our panelists you guys wanted to add before I close it out? All right. And I will share a contact slide again. So if you feel like you have questions that were not answered, if we missed them, or you just have some follow-up, you will have our contact information so we can continue these conversations. Hopefully this is just the start of many to come. So thank you to everyone who asked questions. And thank you to our panelists for your time. We're going to move into the final part of the session now. And so you've learned about the tax time program. You've heard why it's important from our volunteers and our partners. And now I want to share with you a little bit more about what we talked about of how you can get involved. So I'm just going to share a little slide to guide this. It's not too much information. Let me just get this shared. Okay. So we talked a lot about volunteering as a way to get involved, but I wanted to highlight a few different ways because I know everybody might not have the time, or at least this season, to jump in and be a volunteer. But like we said, there's different positions that you can choose to take as a volunteer, and some are less of a time commitment and some are more heavy of a time commitment. But whatever you decide to do, I promise you we're going to be alongside you, your site coordinators, your fellow volunteers, my team, and whoever's team you're placed with are going to be there to make sure you have what you need to answer your questions. And again, there's opportunities for one-time volunteering, potentially the season, or the commitment of the season, which is give or take from beginning of February through April, in addition to the training that comes before that. And if you are a part of an organization or a company and you want to collaborate on operating a tax clinic site, those are always partnerships we're looking to expand. There truly is a need. We never have enough volunteers or sites open to fill the need that comes our way for the amount of clients that want to be served. And every year we're looking to see who can we partner with, who can we give the staffing capabilities and knowledge to be able to operate your own operations at your companies or organizations. And you might not be doing 1,000 returns in a year, but you might be able to work with your specific communities that you guys serve and be able to get 20 done. And that's a huge difference in itself when you look at the credits and the returns that you can provide to those clients by just opening up your site as even a testing site for a season. So you can reach out to me for that if you're interested in talking about what that might look like. And another way you can support our programs is financially, and financial support could be a general program donation, or you might be interested in sponsoring meals for our volunteers at their sites. The volunteers spend 4 to 5 hours on a Saturday or during the week, and being able to provide them snacks and drinks is a pick-me-up for them to get them through that day. Or you might be able to provide kids activities, like busy kids activity kits that we can hand out to children who are accompanying their guardians who come in at an appointment when we might not have something for them to be doing. So a financial support donation could look very different depending on your interest. And again, we'd love to have more conversations around how we could connect you with our program. And finally, spreading the word, that in itself, talk to your friends, talk to your family, talk to your colleagues or your organizations, and let them know not only about the services that we provide, because you might have colleagues or family members who could actually benefit from our services if they're under that $58,000 threshold, but also let them know about the volunteer opportunities. So if you can't do the things above, just spreading the word makes a difference as we're trying to continue to expand our services across Franklin County and further. So those are the big ways that we would love to have you guys help us out. And lastly, I just wanted to share our contact information. So we've got, if you are interested in volunteering or just keeping up to date on the tax time program and what we do, I have linked in here our website, specifically the page where you can sign up for our listserv. And once you sign up for our listserv, that's where we put out the first announcements around interest meetings for becoming a volunteer, or trainings, or special events opportunities, or job postings. So go ahead and sign up. That's the first step. You can also contact us at our tax time email, or you can contact me directly on my email that's listed. And then Megan shared a good website for Legal Aid Society of Columbus, where you can go to get involved with their program as a volunteer. You could also go to their website, and there's information on the lines you would call as a client if you needed support from them. And then Nationwide Children's Hospital, you can get connected with their work through Ed. So Ed's email is on here as well. And so that is everything that we have for you guys today. I just wanted to say again, thank you so much to everyone who joined us. We're grateful for your time, for your questions, for your interest in learning more about the Tax Time program. And a huge thank you to all of my panelists who joined us today. I know you guys all have busy schedules and other commitments, and thank you for giving your time to highlight the Tax Time program and the impact that we can make together. I'm grateful for your dedication and for the partnerships that really make our work possible. It's through you that we're able to return millions of dollars a year in refunds to Central Ohio communities. And lastly, a big thank you to Brandy Davis. She's my colleague at United Way who makes Learn United sessions possible on the back end. And so Brandy, thank you so much for your guidance in putting this together so we could share more about us with the community. As a trusted partner in Central Ohio for nearly 100 years, United Way is committed to working side by side with our community and for our community towards a better tomorrow. United Way brings together donors, volunteers, advocates, nonprofits, leaders, and more to take on Central Ohio's toughest challenges. We hope that you'll continue to join us for future conversations like this. And you can find those, they put this in the chat, but the website is liveunitedcentralohio.org/events, because our community is stronger when we show up united. So thanks again, everybody. Enjoy the rest of your days. Feel free to reach out to us if you want to continue the conversation and get involved.
Thanks, Hannah.